Hi everybody, Martyn at Flicking Feathers again today, and I'm tying a dredging flatwing, right, for fishing them deep. It's got a buried tungsten cone. It's an interesting fly if you're fishing kind of up off a deep structure. This is a very nice wee pattern that can be quite effective on its day. Nice long slinky profile, plenty of movement. Something a wee bit different. As always, I'll put a materials list in the description, along with a link to the Patreon page for anybody that wants to support the channel, get access to the members only content, and be entered into the giveaways. You can also subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notified of the new videos when they come out, and also share the video. Right. If everybody shared it once, it would be really cool. Right, anyway, so I've got my hook and my vise. This is a size 2 Gamakatsu S10S 4H, or an SL12. It's a very similar hook. And I've got a 5mm by 5mm tungsten cone already mounted on it, just in silver, and I've started some uni mono and fine clear, put a wee bit of super glue in the shank. I'm going to take this right back to the start of the bend, then I'm going to take a sparse bunch of white bucktail, clean it out, and I'm going to offer this in so the overall, if you look here, you can see like my overall fly is coming back. It's about 5 inches, 4.5, 5 inches. I'm going to stop my bucktail maybe 1.5 inches before the end of the feather. So just catch that in nice and tight, and a couple of wraps of thread, and I'm just going to sort of encourage it around the shank, and then take a few wraps just to really cinch it down. Trim the waist. I'll just tidy up. Now I'm going to get a bit of angel here. Just a few strands. Pinch it in. Fold back. And then we'll just sort of see how it is. I'll trim it so that the longest fibres are staggered in length, but also about as long as the feathers are going to be. So I'll come in with, I'm only going to put 2 feathers on this. For the tail you could put 3 if you want, but at this size, I mean this is as small as I would go on a flatwing really, but at this size I don't want just that same heaviness that you would get if you were putting on like 3 or 4. So I've got a kind of bluey, it's a bit like blue done, but it's I'd say maybe a bit more on the bluish side. And I'm going to just press that in. It's slightly angled towards myself, and I'm just going to let the thread roll it over onto the top, and then lock it down. Make sure it's sitting flat. This is a saddle feather, and it's from a Ewing, if you're interested, but it doesn't matter. Like, you don't need to buy Flatwing specific saddles or anything. And then next I'm going to get a grizzly dyed, kind of washed out grey blue. Slightly, I'll let this be slightly longer. It's better if the feathers are not the same length, you know, just slightly different, because it allows them to swim better. Same again, I'll just got the feather sort of facing up towards myself. I'll just let the thread torque push it over onto the top. Trim away the stem. Tidy that up. And then the body I'm going to dub, rather than the sort of traditional angel hair, body braid, I'm dubbing some, just using some, well, it is angel hair really, it's just light bright ice dub, something like that. Any mylar dubbing. I'm going to let this be about half of my body length, and you'll see here I'm dubbing it very heavily because I'm going to brush it and pull the flash into the tail and the wing. So you can get plenty on. Don't worry about overdubbing this, it's very difficult to put too much on. I'm going to whip finish here. Trim my thread. I'm going to put a gel type super glue, just a wee bit on there, and then force the bead back onto over the thread wraps and onto the dubbing, and then I'll just come back with my thread, just build a wee dam, locking it in place. Snip away the waste. I'm going to come in with a bit more dubbing. And I'm going to dub this back up onto the cone. Essentially, I mean, I don't mind almost entirely covering the cone or even completely covering it, but it's handy in your box if you've got unweighted and weighted flat wings in the box. It's a good idea to have a wee bit of the cone visible. It just helps to identify which is which at a glance. Then we're going to come back to the bucktail. Take some from right up the tip of the tail, some of the shorter here. This is a nice tail, but the hair's actually quite long. Right. I'm going to measure this so it's a bit shorter than supporting Bucktail, creating the belly. And I'm going to do 2 bunches top and bottom, so 4 in total, so that I can slightly taper it, stagger the length a bit. So I'm keeping them nice and sparse. I'm coming with my blue. I mean, in the colour, the shade's up to yourself really. You can tie them all as chartreuse or the rest of it, you know, whatever you prefer. Black's a good colour. Just cleaning this blue Bucktail. I'm going to slightly realign some of the fibres there. Then length, I'll come in roughly the same as the belly bunch. Spread it. Come in, just trim away the waste. Just make sure you've surrounded the whole, all the way around. You've got 360-degree coverage. So I'm glue. I'll just take some head cement. Just varnish that before I tie over it. And it's really more about, it's not really glue as such, but it's I just want to seal everything inside. Just tying back onto that. Now you'll notice that the hair's quite flared here. Once I brush it, the dubbing and all that will blend in and it'll be able to drop slightly. And then obviously you run it underwater like you would a hollow fly. Just to get a bit of shape. A small extra amount of the dubbing here. Just back. You can, if you want, you could even tie in like just some strands of angel hair. Another bunch of white Bucktail. And I like, the front bunch can be slightly heavier actually than the one before. If you want. I think it looks good if it's slightly thicker towards the head, and probably, although it'll be minimal actually, it's not, you're not really adding that much material. You will sort of, if it's a bit heavier at the front, it makes the feathers swim a bit more at the back, you know, it creates a wee bit more turbulence. Get them spread, tied in. Come in with the blue. I'll get this bunch on top. I'm taking quite a loose gathering wrap there and just catching it. Check it and tighten in. And come in. Trim your waist off close. If you hold it quite tight and pinch it close to the point where you're going to cut it, you'll get a nice tight clean cut, especially around the eye here. Where you don't want any exposed fibres. Pretty good. Same again. Just get that in, and this is optional. I'm going to put on some artificial jungle cork. This is the Subai stuff. I get it in big packs. I just think that sometimes I stick real jungle cork on the saltwater flies, but I'm using quite a small bit here, and the artificial, I mean, an eye of that size I want to really keep for my trout and salmon flies and on the real capes, and the artificial stuff is a bit more durable in the saltwater. I mean, a big feather that you can smear with silicone on some greaseproof paper, that's fine, you know, it becomes quite tough, but these weird ones, you might as well go with artificial. It's just a suggestion of an eye, really. So that's one. Quite happy. I'm just going to whip finish. Trim that away. Now, as I say, the brush is, and you can see that, hopefully you can see it on the camera, as the flash gets pulled into the wing and into the body, that the bucktail sort of drops to a slightly better shape, and then once it's had a run under some water and allowed to hang to dry, you get a really nice, you know, when it starts to drop into that nice fish-like profile that I had there in the original, although my tail's dropping, but it would be like that. So there you go, that's the dredging flatwing. It's just a wee variation on the existing theme. Good fly, especially if you're fishing for the sort of colder water, saltwater fish. Well worth having in your box. So I hope that was useful, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up below, subscribe to the channel and share the video. Tight lines, guys, bye.